Well, the holidays are fast approaching, and what better way to ring them in than with the Baltimore Choral Arts? Joining me now is music director Anthony Blake Clark. Thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you. Good morning.
I always love having you here because that means that we are in the mood and in the seasons for some really, really good music. For those who are not lucky enough to have become familiar with the Baltimore Choral Arts, tell us a little bit more about it.
Sure. Well, Baltimore Choral Arts exists to sustain and promote the art of classical music, specifically classical singing. So I like to say we're Maryland's choir. We're 56 years old. We sing the big pieces with choir and orchestra, the big ones that you think of, Beethoven's Ninth Symphony, Mozart Requiem, Handel's Messiah, which everyone knows from Christmas, things like that. But we do that with our own orchestra. We do that with the Baltimore Symphony, the Maryland Symphony. We also try to push the boundary when it comes to what a choir does or should do, what a concert should be. So we're very much advocates for new music and new ways of presenting things. And we do a lot of work in the community with schools. We have some really rich partnerships with students. And we also give a lot of free concerts to the community. So we just want to spread around singing and the joy of having a community together that sings together.
You always do so much. I'm wondering, how has the pandemic changed that this year?
Well, of course, just like everyone else, I mean, in March, we were cracking away at a lot of different things. We had just done a huge performance with some Peabody ensembles, and then everything shut down. And we had to really sort of be creative about how we were going to continue to get music to our stakeholders, whether they're audience members or singers, because our singers are a huge community. And so we've been doing parking lot rehearsals, which sounds bizarre, but it's been really fun. Where people can stay in the safety of their cars, and we transmit me and my associate conductor and the piano to an FM radio transmitter, and so they can hear it in their cars. We've been doing a couple of outdoor things together as small groups, but and some online rehearsals as well. But our big sort of push, sort of in a public-facing way, is the Off the Grid series on wmar, and we want to be here in this really important moment in time in history and sort of talk about how music and the arts sort of contribute to the conversation and to hard conversations.
And tell us more about that Off the Grid series, because you have the second one coming up on November 22nd. For people who missed it, you don't have to miss it a second time. You get a chance to redeem yourselves.
Right. So the first episode kind of focused more on it was called Inspiration in Adversity, and more specifically, it's focused on music that happened and occurred during pandemics and during hard times. But this next episode focuses on music that can be tied to something going on in our world today. So I've called it Music for the Moment. And we discuss really, really hard things. We sing about unarmed Black men who have been shot and killed. We sing about hate crimes, but we also sing about hope. There's actually a really cool story from the 18th century that actually has relevance today, in which a very famous composer, George Frederick Handel, was asked to create a piece in London for a fundraiser concert for a children's home and hospital, sort of combined. And that piece really celebrates heroism, benevolence, those who financially support institutions, but it can also be seen today as a real tribute to healthcare workers, essential workers, and I think to all those who have really been heroes this year during the pandemic.
Why do you think it's so important to use music as a vehicle to talk about these issues? Because I think a lot of times we think of music as just sort of an escape from these issues, as opposed to talking about what it is that we're seeing in our everyday society. Why do you think that is so important?
Well, I think the answer is easy, and the answer is that music is so inspiring. And it's so transportive. And so I think we can use music and words, text, which choral music has that benefit of words, to inspire, to change people's stances. I think that music opens the door for conversations like this piece that we sing about unarmed Black men who have been killed. This piece, it's through a vehicle of music and inspiration and beauty. And I think it's so much easier to approach people who might not be so interested in having this conversation with beautiful music and with sort of something to come together around.
Right.
And music always, and art always has been a reflection of our times and what's going on. And so I think it's just so important for us to be part of the conversation.
Yeah, there's an empathy and an understanding that people can oftentimes find themselves feeling when they're enjoying a piece of really beautiful music like the choral arts provides. All right, so people can catch the special, watch it right here on WMAR starting, actually it's November 22nd, so that's coming up quick. Anthony Blake Clark, thank you so much for all of your helpful information. If people want to get some more information about Baltimore Choral Arts, should they just check out the website?
Yes, they can go to baltimorechoralarts.org. I also should say that the October 18th episode is still streaming on your platforms, on WMAR's
Yep.
platform, but also on ours. And don't forget the Christmas special coming up. It's our 25th anniversary, so you definitely want to preemptively get yourself in the holiday spirit, especially with
Absolutely. Thank you so much for being with us. Always a joy. We appreciate having you here. And we'll be right back with more Midday Maryland right after this. Stay tuned.